So for the past, I want to say 2 weeks, I've been working on kind of like upcycling and sewing some clothes. And so I had a pair of jeans that I kind of didn't know what to do with because I really didn't like the way they fit me. And I also had a jumpsuit that kind of didn't fit me. And so I kind of got the idea to maybe upcycle or change the both of them. And this will be the end result. So this is my sewing journey for my jeans. They turned out pretty well in the end, but yeah, I mean, let's get started. I'll share like my process. Okay, so step one. So step one first, at least for me in my process, is always getting a mood board going, always getting some ideas, always like planning it out, because I feel like that's really important just to figure out like what I want to do first. I feel like everybody does that. But anyways, that's step one. So basically what I did, I went to Pinterest. I love Pinterest. Me and Pinterest go together bad. And so I went on Pinterest and I was just kind of like, I knew that I had seen on TikTok, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna see if I can find the video too. It's like this girl who was basically explaining like, oh, this is how you would change, I guess regular jeans or boot cut or bell bottom jeans into like flare jeans. I was like, that is super cute. So I made a whole Figma board. I love Figma. I love Figma down. But I made a whole Figma board and basically I just got some inspo. So basically the blue jeans that I had are like a really nice blue. They're not faded or washed or dark. They're like a true blue, I would say. And the jumpsuit that I had was white and lace. And so you look at my inspo, I really wanted that white lace to come through on kind of like the blue jeans. I feel like comparing the colors and just kind of looking at the material, I feel like it was like a good pairing, if that makes any sense. And so I kind of wanted to do the white lace. I also took inspiration from one of those by adding like pearls and then kind of making it more drapey, if that makes any sense. You look at my sketches too. That's like kind of the inspo, where I'm gonna cut it, how high up it's going to go. I kind of wrote down or drew out kind of what I wanted. I cannot draw, you guys. Whoa. I'm not that good, but this is kind of like what I wanted. I kind of sketched out like, oh, I kind of wanted to go up this high. I kind of wanted a bow on the side. Here's where the lace would be inserted. So one of my like kind of like key ideas for these jeans was not only to put the panel in, but to have the trim all the way around the bottom of the jean. So it's like lace poking out the bottom. You can see the cut-in panel. There's pearls, there's a bow. That's kind of like what my thought process was. So that's kind of what I ended up doing. I also wanted to add a belt, which I ended up making too with the extra material. And I also ended up changing the pockets. So this is step one, sketching it out, getting inspo, key ideas, and then we're gonna move on to step two. Okay, so moving on to step two. So step two for me was to kind of get a sense of the material. And so I'm gonna have like some videos up on the side, hopefully, kind of like what that looks like. But the jeans, at least to me, the number one issue that I had was the way that they were sitting. Like, I feel like they sat nicely on my waist. It was cute. But in the inside, it was like really tight. Like between my thighs, it was super duper tight. And so I don't technically think that I fixed that with the jeans or whatever, but I think it's like, okay, whatever. It kind of sat nicely on my waist. I kind of like where my waistline was, like kind of what it looked like. It was fine. But just the main issue with the jeans was just like, I just didn't really like the way it was looking. It kind of looked like all of my other jeans and I was like not afraid to upcycle them. These are the jeans where I'm like, hey, we're gonna go away anyway, so I might as well do something with them and make them look cute. So yeah, I mean, like, anything else about the jeans? I know that they're kind of like true blue, like I said before, not a dark wash, not a light wash. I kind of, it hugs me in the right places, I guess, if that helps. But no, I kind of like the pockets too. One thing about it through this sewing journey, I definitely kept the pockets. The pockets are so pretty, so I kept the pockets. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I have really too much else to say on those jeans. I just think overall, like, the fit was kind of, the jeans are kind of, so I was just like, oh, I might as well change them. So that's kind of my thought process. And so we're going to be moving on now to the jumpsuit, kind of like what I thought about that, because I have a lot to say about her, if I'm being honest. It was just kind of not it. I mean, I had worn that for a while, but I mean, it looks cute on me, right? Like, but I feel like the lace is kind of the number one part that I wanted to take from that jumpsuit, just because it's so pretty. And I'm like, I have to do something with this lace. Like, so it was just it's such a beautiful lace. And it was like a nice white color. But the number one issue kind of that I had with the jumpsuit is how see-through it was. Like, I promise you, like, the lace on the arms is see-through. The entire jumpsuit is see-through. Does not help the fact that I am black, right? So that white, like, it being see-through on my dark skin, I'm like, you're seeing everything. So, like, I even remember, like, I would have to put stuff on underneath so you're not just, like, staring at my panties. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I had to fix that. I think the jumpsuit also didn't cut me right at all. Like, I kind of know my body type and how I look. My torso is kind of like where my waist is a lot higher. My torso is a lot shorter, so it comes up real high. And so the way that the jumpsuit was cutting me, it was cutting me kind of below my waist a little bit. So it really didn't help shape my figure or anything. And it was kind of baggy in all the wrong places, if that makes any sense. So yeah, number one reason why I was like, gotta cut this jumpsuit up for real. Like, she was not giving. I love the fact though that she had pockets. That's my number one thing. I do love the fact that she had pockets. I will say that. It was really cute. Recognizing those issues and kind of bargaining with the fact that I'm about to change these two items, I was kind of like, I'm ready. You know, like, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to commit. So now this is step 3, I guess, which would be actually doing something. I ended up, it took me like, I want to say, I'm gonna be honest, like 3-ish days, because I had a lot of other stuff going on. It took me like 3 days to take apart both the pants and the jumpsuit. What I didn't want to do was ruin the original material, so what I ended up doing was taking out the stitching. So I don't know technically if I would recommend this to people. I'm actually not even sure if I'd recommend this. So for the jeans, basically what I did is I took apart the sides and the pockets. And so that was kind of like my number one thing was de-stitching it. I took it up high enough to where I'd be comfortable, but starting with the pockets, for some reason there's a jewel on there that would not come off. So I ended up having to cut it out. Miserable, actually. That was so hard to do. But I also took it up the sides, like the seam on the outside of the jeans, to kind of get that bell bottom flare that we're about to get, like to insert the panel. But I just took the stitching off of the sides. And so moving on to the white jumpsuit, what I ended up kind of doing was taking off the arms. So taking off the arm section and just kind of like de-stitching that. I hadn't de-stitched it completely. It was still like, it looked like a cone shape. And then I also de-stitched the bottom part, which is what the panel insert for the jeans was going to be made out of. So I took off the complete bottom half of my jumpsuit just to get that nice lace, and then also to get the panel on the inside, like the material behind it, which was kind of sheer, but I really needed it for the pockets. Yeah, so I basically took apart the jeans, took apart the jumpsuit, I just de-stitched them. It took me a really long time. Obviously, you know, if I didn't want to uphold the material, I would have just cut it, you know, but I kind of wanted to keep the jeans intact. I didn't want to ruin the lace. So everything here was really delicate that I was working with. So that's why I had to de-stitch. And that was basically it. This is step 4, arguably the biggest part and what took the longest. It is the sewing. Yay! So it took me quite a while to get everything to where it is when I'm gonna show you guys later. But yeah, it was like a lot of work. I would definitely do it again. I would so do that again. It was so I would do it again though. I would do it again. I had a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know, I have a sewing machine. I'm gonna see maybe if I can insert a picture. It is a Singer sewing machine. I had it since I was a little girl. I've always known how to sew. So again, this is like just my progress or process. That is basically it for my background, I guess, just to like kind of get into it a little bit. Do know how to sew. Obviously I've worked with materials before, so I do have kind of, not like fashion diva, I know everything, but I do know a little bit about deconstructing material, cutting it up. What is that gonna look like? I have kind of the tools that I already need. So what I'm gonna do is kind of insert a video of me kind of talking about the pockets. Okay, today is sewing day. So I have my pants here. The only issue that I've been having so far, like I have all the material, everything's cut up. I just have to figure out these pockets, the pocket situation, because it's kind of like, sorry about my nails, don't say anything. But yeah, it's glued on or stapled on and I can't get it off. So I don't have any tool to kind of remove it, I guess. So my best bet would be to cut a hole and then just sew over it. So I'm gonna cut the pockets, sew the hole, and then we'll just kind of have to go from there. Okay, so yeah, I mean, again, pockets, I really had to work around them. Did not know they were going to be stapled to the jeans. Who does that? Even like who? I thought I could just remove them. Who even staples? It's okay, doesn't matter. But yeah, so it took me a while to like remove that. For the first part of my process, what I ended up doing was taking the pockets off the jeans, you know, cutting them off, and then taking the pocket and matching it up to the white liner from, remember that, from the inside of my jumpsuit. Basically what I did, pocket, right? Took the fabric material and left a little bit of room on the outside, so I cut around the pocket with like 1/4 of an inch out. And that worked, I mean, because I knew that I would have to fold it in, so it gave me enough material to where I could fold the corners to where they could look nice once I sewed them on. I cut the lace out too, and then what I ended up doing was pinning them together, so folding that 1/4 of an inch, again, 1/4 of an inch for the lace, 1/4 of an inch for the liner, ended up folding those both in and pinning them. And then that's when I ended up sewing those together. I sewed it kind of directly along the line, just straight stitch, white thread, sewed them kind of along the line, nothing too close to the edge of the pocket, because that's where my second stitch would have to go. So yeah, I mean, basically, if you look at the pockets, by the time that I'm completely finished with everything and you look at them when I sewed them onto the jeans, you have a single stitch kind of like inside, right? And that was like to hold the pocket together. And then I ended up doing another stitch kind of closer to the outside line of the pocket. So like 2 stitches, one in the middle and then one on the outside, just to put the pocket onto the pants. And so for the jeans, obviously I had to kind of sew the hole closed from when I took the jewel out. And then I also had to sew the top part of the pocket closed, like where the lace meets the inside panel, the white panel. I had to make sure those were sewed together. Oh, the last thing that I did do for the pockets was sew ribbon on. This ribbon was kind of a throw-in. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the ribbon was kind of a throw-in. I feel like, one, my pockets ended up being too big. Love the pockets, way too big, I think. So I kind of ended up wanting to give it something a little more. So I ended up finding some like white ribbon I had left over and kind of just sewed it onto the pockets, just to kind of hide the fact that I'm like a little sloppy, a little out of practice. And so the white ribbon kind of like gave everything a classy, like dainty, what's the coquette kind of look to it. I will say by far, the bottom half of the bell bottoms, or changing the jeans to be bell bottoms, was the hardest part. For sure was the hardest part for me to do. So what I ended up doing, right, because I haven't done this before, letting anybody know who's out there who tries this, right? What I ended up having to do was flip the jeans inside out, And then I put the lace around it, right? Pinning it to hold the lace in place to where I would know the size of the panel. I don't recommend this because for both sides of the jeans, for the left leg and the right leg, I eyeballed it. So who's to say those panels are even? I don't know. I just had to like kind of compare it. I recommend, I guess if people are trying this, to get like a ruler or something. Nobody's going to be able to tell, first of all, because like nobody's going to be looking at both panels at the same time. You have to see one leg and the other leg, and it's not obvious. You know what I'm saying? So, and it ended up turning out fine. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, you know, like tomato, it's going to be okay. But no, so I ended up eyeballing kind of like the panels. And so this is the hardest part. Pants are inside out, right? I pinned the lace to them, right? How did I sew them? Let's think about this. If I were to just sew them, the back stitching would be on the outside. Back stitching is not pretty. Back stitching is not pretty. So what I had to do, reach in, reach out, with the pins in, mind you. I stuck myself so many times. Reach in, reach out, to where now the jeans were the correct way. So they're not inside out anymore. They're the correct way. The pins are still in, and that's how I sewed them on. The outside, that way the stitching was nice. Didn't do white thread. I found a blue thread. A blue thread that's kind of close to the color of the jeans, I guess. So I found the blue thread, and that's what I stitched with. Literally, like, that was the hardest part, though, was especially because the way that I had to sew the panel, it's in a V shape, right? It's in a V shape, right? So for me to sew the panel on V shape, and then it's like already closed, right? So a cone. There was no way for me to lay it out flat and sew the V shape, because the bottom of the pants, it's already a cone, guys. It's already a cone. So I would have been sewing it together, you know? So what I had to do is I had to take the material, right? We got our V shape, right? Hold that V shape, make sure the bottom part of the jeans was not going in with the rest, and sew it like that. So it was a lot of like moving the material this way, like this, and sewing it. And then for the bottom half, remember that lace I talked about where I was like, I want the trim to go all the way around the bottom of the pants? So that's what I ended up doing for that one too. So I mean, like, again, cone shape, that one was a little easier because I could slide it. Like if my sewing machine's like this, right? I was able to slide it onto the sewing machine. I'm so sorry for these gestures. I was able to slide it onto the sewing machine and then just kind of sew like that way. So it was just regular wraparound, normal sewing, I guess. So I was able to just kind of like sew it like that. But putting that all together, this is true upcycling. Putting that all together, that was not, I just got fabric from Joann's and I put that in. That was deconstructed material that I had to end up sewing in and like eyeballing it, because I hate measuring. So sorry to the girls that measure. I actually hate measuring. So I just sit there, I'm like, this gotta work. And I got that dog in me. It's gotta work. It has to work. So that's what ended up happening. It has to work. Moving on to part 5. Finishing touches and presentation. This is part 5, or what was I saying before? Section 5? I can't remember. We're just gonna say part 5 now. So yeah, part 5. Guys, final touches, super quick. I made a belt. Literally, I took the scraps, made a belt. It's really lacy but really loose at the same time. Basically what I did, I took the scraps and I just kind of like sewed them together. So overall, that belt is probably like 5 different scraps, like kind of like, you know, like stretched into like a belt. And then the last final portion that I did after that was putting the pearls on. If anyone wants to sponsor me, I need some E6000 glue. I really do. Thought we had some in the house. Apparently we don't. Apparently nobody else crafts here. Apparently nobody else likes to craft. So we do not have any E6000 glue. I did have to hot glue. Ugh. Ew, tomato, boo. I had to hot glue the pearls on. I'm sorry. It's like a sewing sin. I mean, a crafting sin. I'm so sorry. But I'm just like, don't worry about me. Hey, they're on. Am I right? Will not last through the wash. Won't last through that wash. Like, they hot glue on the runway. Don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on that. I don't know if they have glue on the runway. I feel like they do though. But anyways, yeah, ending portion of it, if you guys look at it, put the video up. Bow, 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 bow. I put the bow on. I put the pearls on. Those were my final touches. Put the belt together. Like, that's what it ended up looking like. Like, it ended up turning out super cute. I really liked it. The whole concept came together at the end. It looks almost exactly like my sketches. Exactly like my sketches. But again, love the pearls, love the panel, love the bow. The bow ended up being kind of long, but I kind of like it. I don't know, it's kind of giving cute, but I digress. I'll cut it if I need to. But yeah, the only gripe that I have about these pants would be that the pockets are a little too big. No offense to my pockets. Love you, girl. We worked hard on you. Ended up putting ribbon on you last second to make you look cute so people couldn't see my sewing job. But no, I think the pockets were really cute. I really did like the pockets. They just were maybe a little too big. Like, in ratio to my butt, not to be, just work with me, y'all. In ratio to my butt, those pockets are kind of huge. Maybe that's a me issue. I don't know. But I mean, in ratio to the jeans too. It's not a me issue, actually. The pockets are just too big. I could have made them smaller, but I digress. I tried my best, and this is my first time doing it. So props to me. That's all that really matters, to be honest. That's all that really matters. But yeah, I mean, again, I love the way that these jeans turned out. First time upcycling, idea, finishing, loved it so much. Like, these jeans ended up super cute. Super cute. I love them. So glad that my concept could come to light. So glad that I could take it again. Step 1 all the way to step 5. This is how it ended up looking. So I'm really proud of myself. I really am. Now I guess we're gonna move into like closing thoughts. Moving into closing thoughts and kind of like notes, I guess. I don't know. I really like the way that these jeans turned out. Was a lot of hard work, was a labor of love, but they ended up turning out cute, the exact way that I wanted my concept to look. So I'm not mad at them. It was a lot of work, like I said before, a lot of poking, pinning, eyeballing, but yeah, I mean, again, like, really love those pants, really love the way that they turned out. Yeah, so I don't mind upcycling jeans and clothes that I have to make them look cute. I mean, this was like a lot of fun, guys. So much fun. I know I said that like 15,000 times, but really, I was just like so happy to be sewing and like making something, crafting. I'm such a crafting girly, so I'm definitely like, y'all give me ideas for like other crafts that you want to see. Please do. I'm really also into cosplay. Really into cosplay. Not super experienced at it, but knowing my crafting skills and my sewing background, it's like a match made in heaven. And then I'm like, oh, I can cosplay as so I'm working on a cosplay too that I'll probably record and show you guys like my process, because I'm already having the sketching, already again have the mood board, have the sketching down, I already have everything down. So it's just gonna be another process. Probably more than 5 steps. It's gonna take me a while, but I kind of have an idea in my head, and I know how to execute. I think that's it, you guys. I think that's it. Until next time, hopefully you guys liked the video. Hopefully you liked seeing my process and progress and stuff like that. Hopefully it's like fine, and hopefully I did the editing right, but fingers crossed, double fingers crossed. But yeah, so until next time, bye.